So you have a sister that grew up in the suburbs, and in those suburbs, she wasn't really around a lot of black people, and it had an effect on her until she found out about reality. Let's go ahead and roll that.
As a retired suburban black girly slash retired token negress, I definitely have some thoughts on this. For one, the initial video was actually inspired by a tweet by one of my mutuals. Her name is Nia. She's actually head of the Hoochie. Well, she's been a lot of things. TikTok just won't let her be great, but she gives great commentary, so you should definitely go follow her. Anyway, I grew up in the suburbs of northern Chicago, late 90s, early 2000s, and historically had always been one of the only black people, or especially black girls, in all of my classes. Never saw myself at school, never saw myself on TV, never saw myself out in the streets in the neighborhood that I lived in. And my parents actually stopped taking us to the black church that we had attended for the first 10 years of my life because it was just too far and they preferred to go to church locally. So now, not only am I not seeing myself in my day-to-day experience, but there also are no extracurriculars that are going to solidify my identity as a black person. Now, at the time, I didn't think too much of the fact that all of my friends were white. I don't think my parents thought too much of it because, again, it was just us. But eventually they started getting concerned when I started exhibiting some weird behavior. What kind of weird behavior, might you ask? I started getting very visibly uncomfortable being around other black people. I got very into my role of being one of the good ones, if you know what I mean. I had been so brainwashed by my white peers to believe that other black people were ghetto and that they were stupid and that they were unambitious and not trustworthy, dangerous, all that stuff. And when I tell you the indoctrination from the suburbs is real, listen, it is alive and well. And it wasn't until I got into high school and I joined a bunch of extracurriculars that were run and actively participated in by other black people from all sorts of different backgrounds. Someone had to tell me about myself. And it forced me to take a really good look at my life and ask myself some real questions. Why are you uncomfortable around other people who look like you? Why are you more comfortable being around people who literally make snarky, microaggressive comments or blatantly racist comments in your presence all the time? Why would you prefer to be aligned with them? Why the fuck would you even look at these people as the safer option as far as company? Like, what? Because listen, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter how hard you try to separate yourself from blackness as a result of growing up in spaces where you didn't see yourself. At the end of the day, you might not see yourself as one of those, but they still do. You can try all you want to separate yourself from your blackness, but baby, at the end of the day, this is a club that you have a lifetime subscription to, and they'll never be able to relate. So y'all can play that stupid ass game if you want to, but when you need us, know that we're not going to be there because you were being fucking weird.
You know, the one thing that this sister talked about that stuck out for sure was she said you have a lifetime membership to this club, the black club. No matter where you think you grew up, no matter how many friends you have of a different community, one thing America is going to let you know that you're black, period. It don't matter even if you have a parent of one parent that's black, one parent of a different community. Does not matter. Doesn't matter if you're married to a black person or not. Don't matter. Don't matter if you're not married at all. It doesn't matter. You're part of this community, period. No matter what. Some black people could try to say what you're not part of, but white supremacy is running the land, saying you're part of the black community. So you need to understand that, like the sister said, you have a lifetime membership. Now, I understand that black people that do well for themselves, they want to move to different areas to have different opportunities. I get it. Oh, I get it 200%. But one thing you cannot do is remove your child from black spaces and they're black. You got to keep them surrounded around black people, even though they may live in a different area at that time period. You need to instill culture. You need to make sure they know who they are. That's first and foremost. You need to make sure they in extracurricular activities where they are surrounded by a lot of black people. If you can find a private school, if you can afford to, put them in that's ran by black people, even better, right? But you got to make sure to keep them around they people, because just where we grew up in our neighborhood, you don't be going in them white folks' house. That's first and foremost. We was always told don't be eating their food. That's something else we were just told. We said you don't be eating their food, you don't be in their house. The old people just always had certain rules, you know, for us. Say, hey, you want to talk to them, you can do it outside in front of everybody, not go off nowhere. It was just a protection thing that they had for black people at that time period. Because she said that she was basically adopting white white supremacist culture and didn't want to be around black people. Because see, that culture is anti-black racism. That's that culture. And that's not our culture. We don't have a culture that teach that, oh, well, we need to avoid people, everybody, because of a skin color. If we avoid you, it's because of something that was done to us. Unfortunately, we're more reactionary. And we had this, 500-year history of things happening to us. So that's why the old people always said, hey, don't do this, do that. You understand? But you letting your child get to a point where they don't even want to be around black people, they feel uncomfortable around black people, that's a failure on you as a parent for your child. That's you, because you cultivated an environment where your child wasn't around black people. You cultivated that, and you have to own that. You don't want to move your child to a different environment, and you feel that this environment it will be safer, be more opportunity, etc. But they lose who they are in the process. You understand? You don't want that, because to me, you created an even bigger problem than what you had before. So keep your child within the culture. Keep your child surrounded around the people. Find black people who's find them in your area you living in. Find them all. See if they're good people. And y'all kids get together, y'all hang out. You purposely got to do that when you move to certain areas as black people. But shout out to this sister for talking about something that some black people do deal with. Because when you think that you are separated from the black community, you are not. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your position is. You are never going to be separated from this community. Never. But let me know what y'all think about what this sister's saying. And you can relate to that. Maybe some of you grew up in some of these environments like that. And even maybe you had those thoughts at one point in time. Let us know.